Thank you very much. And now, I can wrestle this little book out of my pocket. I'm very delighted to welcome back Lisa Kelly, who's read with Dodo, we're not sure, but several times over the years. And I'm delighted particularly that Lisa has found Carcanet to publish her first collection. So it's a prestigious publisher, and it's really good news. So it's called A Map Toward Fluency. It's over there. It's £10 and well worth investigating. Lisa is also the chair of Magma Poetry, and she also hosts readings at the Torriano Meeting House in North London, Kentish Town, which many of you will probably have been to. And the next page is blank, so what I'd like to say is please welcome Lisa Kelly.
Thank you very much, Patrick. So I think it's the fourth time?
Okay, yeah.
We'll go with that.
Yeah.
I'm not a numbers person, but I have a feeling it might be the fourth time.
At least, yeah.
So yes, so it's my first collection. I've divided it into several sections which all have something to do with maths and my poetry. And I think I'm going to do a tour of those sections. The first one, scale and accuracy. It's related to art and looking back on times in my life and people who are important to me, and you know how those memories can loom large or diminish, and that's kind of like the linking theme. So the first one is Obard for an Artist. Of course, the morning came. It always does. But before was an evening, and it was such an evening, I felt already afraid of morning before the light began to fade. He cooked while I looked out of a sash window. As he set the table, I said, "There's a rainbow." And he replied, "I painted the sky for you." Such a perfect response, too good to be true. So we ate, and I remember it was fish, which I don't much like, but again, the dish of tarnished silver was so perfectly placed on a crushed red velvet curtain, draped over a folding table in the room's centre, that the flavour meant less than the gesture, the blunt edge, notched tip of a fish knife. I thought, can we possibly still our lives? Of course, the morning came. It always does. But before was an evening, and it was such an evening, I felt already afraid of morning before the light began to fade. And that brings me on to my second poem, which is a long one, so I warn you, take a deep breath. I'll take a deep breath. A swig of something. Oh, you've taken away your picture.
Did you want it?
No, but it was nice that you mentioned. She must have, yeah, let's have her
She
back.
ought to be back in that case. She's probably listening very hard to you as well.
Well, that would be a feat. But yes, so she probably modelled for that. Looks like it. And I was a life model back in the day, but it wasn't a particularly wonderful experience. I know people who have done life modelling and really enjoyed it, but that wasn't for me. So you'll understand why by the end of this. Life model. I can't look him in the eye because I'm naked. And I can't look down because he's naked. So I look at the circle of people who aren't naked, but are nakedly impatient for me to take my place on the podium, so they can cover their naked canvases with charcoal. My back is skin to skin with his back. There's not a cigarette paper between us. And I curl my legs around myself to try and look like the statue of the Little Mermaid and create interesting contours and stare out, motionless, at the sea of blank faces. And I hope I don't sneeze, and I hope I don't sweat, and I hope I don't secrete, because I'm fish naked, and there's no one to mop me up, and there's no one to dab me down. And this is what it feels like to cease to exist, to be naked and have no one ask, "Are you okay?" To have no one say anything, to have a partner who lies against you naked and doesn't care what you think or feel, who doesn't know you or want to know you. 4 hours later, clothed and £16 cash in hand richer, I have to meet my artist boyfriend in the gallery with naked canvases on the walls and guinea pigs like little muffs running around the floor, dodging boots and heels, stopping to nibble carrots and snuggling down in beds of pubic straw. And I think, maybe I'm an artist, or at least a crucial part of the artistic process, like a naked canvas or a mermaid or a guinea pig. Maybe I do exist. And maybe one day there will be a picture of me in an attic which will stay young forever. And I feel so confident I answer the exhibitor's question, "And what do you do?" with, "I'm a life model." And he replies, "You're a stripper. You strip off for £4 an hour. You're nothing but a strip artist." And my boyfriend, who's in our group, says nothing. His face is a blank canvas. And this is what it feels like to cease to exist, to feel naked and have no one ask, "Are you okay?" To have no one say anything, to have a partner who lies against you naked and doesn't care what you think or feel, who doesn't know you or want to know you. And at that moment, I decide to exist and I say, "You're nothing but a rip-off artist dressed in the emperor's new clothes." And I don't feel naked. I feel like I'm wearing steel-capped boots and a breastplate and a leather jacket with studs. I feel like I'm wearing the Arc de Triomphe as a knuckle duster and the Statue of Liberty as headgear. And I think, forget trying to look like a statue of the Little Mermaid, and forget not sneezing or sweating or secreting, and forget the blank canvases on the wall and the blank faces, and forget staying young in an attic, and totally forget the guinea pigs. And forget having a partner who lies against you naked and doesn't care what you think or feel, who doesn't know you or want to know you. So that was the end of that job and that relationship. Another poem that has a bit of anger in it, actually. So when my mum died, actually no, sorry, I'm going. Well, my mum did die, but she died 6 months after my father. So it was quite a compressed period of horribleness and bereavement. But one of the things that I had to do with my mum while she was sick and going through bereavement, as we all were, is register my dad's death. All the bureaucracy that goes around death, which is horrible at the best of times dealing with bureaucracy, but especially not when somebody has just died. So, death certificate, burnt oak. Dealing with the paperwork of dying, the registrar looks dead bored, and sighing, he asks for my dad's place and date of death and birth, job, names, and last usual address. As he writes it down, his signet ring gleams on his little finger. He looks up, leans towards my mother, and his pen is poised as he asks her, as wife of the deceased, her name and at last her occupation. "Housewife," she says. A hesitation. He wrinkles his brow and again he sighs, taps his pen. "Is that all?" "Yes," she replies. And in her voice there's no hint of recoil, while I said nothing, but boiled and still boil. And so my mum, you gathered from that poem, was a housewife, but she's kind of like my muse. She was a very warm and loving and wonderful person who her whole life was about the family, and I'm a mother now, so you think back, the whole perspective thing about how you fulfil that role. So the shadow cast, and I've got an epigram by Alberto Giacometti. I'm not casting the human figure, but the shadow that is cast. I did not sit in the car, watching the nervous grass, the bush in full swell, waiting for it to crash into the windscreen. I put down the book with its blank white cover, took off silver sandals, placed dark glasses in the cup holder, opened the resistant door, ran at full pelt across the field. I did not flinch when a nasty little stone chipped off the road, burrowed into my soul. I did not discard shorts on the shore, tear off top, revealing goosed flesh in bra and pants. Did not think how my mother would never have behaved like this, would sit in her deck chair, wind-cheated, headscarfed, in sensible sandals, watching nervous Giacometti figures wading out at ridiculous angles to the Atlantic crests, arms flailing in a last-ditch attempt to wave her in, to join the undeniable fun. I did not resent succumbing to a grey-blue wave, the colour of our lips later, that she never came in, as she told us hard to rough up blood. I did not smack into the surf, scream as it took me and my knickers down. I did not cut my wrist on a nasty little stone, swallow salt, choke, stand up to my children's laughter at my demi-nakedness, pull up pants full of shale. I did not think, at least I'm fun. Did not wrestle with the khaki coat, briefly turned kite, casting a shadow on the sand before I could sit myself in and wait huddled on a rock. I did not say, can I go back to the car? And I'm just going to finish this set. I think I said my mother was Danish, so I'm half Danish. But she was an only child, so I have no links with Denmark anymore. And unfortunately, she didn't bring us up to speak Danish because she felt that, and she had two husbands, but she felt in both cases that it would alienate her husbands from her children if we were all speaking Danish. So that is a regret, and this is a rather failed attempt to learn Danish. So I just explain. There's a letter in the Danish alphabet, or, which is a circle with a line like that, and it also means island. So that's also a word. Or, Danish for island, a new word, new world to explore. My tongue tastes the sound of or, touches its shores, its limits. I dream of all, wishing it in my blood as the English sound that comes so easily it is thoughtless. Or floats like those white blood cells that gave my mother and her tongue life. My mouth has a Caliban look, monsterish in expressiveness, and more ridiculously round than or. Surrounded by a sea of white, or is what it means, but I can't possess even this small word. The axis cutting northeast to southwest makes or a no entry sign. I will navigate or the line going through is a river perhaps, and will lead to fresh water. Thank you.